Hey everybody, welcome. I'm Natalie and this is Life After a Cult, the channel where we expose cult nonsense, laugh at the absurdities, and hopefully unbrainwash ourselves in the process. Oh my gosh, can you tell I'm a little out of practice? I'm like, where's my microphone? Hold on, let me fix my audio. Okie dokie. Hey everybody. Thank you so much, moderators, for being here. I so appreciate it. And hello to everybody in the live chat. It's been a hot minute. Oh, I've missed all of you. We're going to get into a little bit of news and then I'm going to tell you about my week and how I survived it. There's a couple things that I want to talk about today, and we're kind of going to go somewhat quickly. The ICE protests that are going on, of course, across the country, but I think kind of the focal point has been Los Angeles. Hey, Deanna Ross and Evie. Mama Opal is here in Arkansas Flamingo. Good to see you. Hey, old Frizz Nolo. While you're all coming in, big alohas to everybody. Hit that like button on your way in as well. Help us with that those notifications. I have been watching the LA ICE protests, and what's been so interesting to me too is many of the people that we've seen in doing the Scientology protests are now there, including Scientology AuditStreetsLA, also has a channel, FilmThePolice. Jessica Palmadessa has been there. Chris Without A Hellcat, who some of you may or may not know, he was part of the original crew who was protesting outside the Hollywood Testing Center. And he kind of went on to do his own thing for a while, but we're seeing him back at the ICE protest in Los Angeles. And it's really neat to see a lot of, see Chris come back. And also I saw We in LA as well. Hey, Kathy Scogan, Susan Good Grandma, great to see you. I have been just watching multiple channels and trying to follow along. Have you guys been watching it at all? Put a 1 in the chat if you've been following and watching the stories about the ICE protests. I've mainly been watching Los Angeles. Today, of course, is Saturday, and there's a whole protest, No Kings protest being planned. So I think we're going to see a lot of those same people out. I'm behind on my morning beverage. So Kathy's watching it, and Sharon and Mark Hardman, and December's watching. It's a lot. It's been a lot. There's, you see a lot of peaceful protests, and then you can see people who are causing issues or who are doing vandalism, which is something that we don't want to see because it completely takes away from the message. Old Frizz is watching. Candice, great. Bob, that is awesome. Yeah, I've been following it when I can. You guys know I've had a really crazy, my work outside of YouTube has changed a little bit, and I am not just working from home anymore. And it's been great because I think I was finally ready to engage again. And if you're new to my channel, my partner Tony passed away a year ago this week, actually. Karen, are you in shelter in place area? No. If you're asking me, no. Not that no. I doubt it. I feel like I would have heard about that. Are you? Are there shelter in place orders going on around today? Let me know. Farrell Cheryl is streaming from downtown St. Pete protests. Definite Trouble Shores is sharing Farrell Cheryl. That's awesome. I'm going to have to check in with Cheryl. Hey, Pootigaroo. Deanna Ross, I have had withdrawals from all of you. I truly have. Hey, Amber. The other thing that I was watching that I wanted to talk about as well is Aaron Smith-Levin's video on growing up in Scientology about the leaked documents. Did you guys see that? Oh my goodness. That just blew me away. We're going to look at a clip from that. Hey, Abigail, and thank you so much for your thoughtful gifts. They arrived. I actually picked it up and opened it yesterday. I really appreciate that. That's super sweet. Very sweet. Definitely brought a smile to my face. I appreciate that. All right, so let's take a look. We're going to keep talking. We're kind of doing a freestyle today. We're probably going to go back and forth between the protests, but I wanted to show you this link because I could not believe this. This is a clip from Growing Up in Scientology about that leaked document regarding quarantine and what happens to members of the Sea Org, the Sea Organization, Scientology's paramilitary branch, where you sign a billion-year contract and you work pretty much 24/7 for Scientology. No premarital sex. You couldn't have done LSD. I always thought that was an interesting qualification for the Sea Organization. Oh, it doesn't matter whatever kind of criminal past you had, predator, come on in. But if you've done LSD, no, we don't want you. It's never really fully made sense to me. Maybe somebody has a better take on that and understands it. I'm like, no. So this document gets leaked. And in the video, Aaron Smith-Levin does talk about kind of connects the dots on where it comes from. There's a whole story behind it, which is fascinating. Hey, Liz Gail, good morning to you. So good to see you. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. Well, let's look at a clip from this.
This is August 5th, 2021. Let me go back to this. This is Eduardo. This is being sent to Eduardo, the quarantine resident, room 707, main building, L. Ron Hubbard Way, from the medical liaison officer, PAC. And guys, for anyone just new to the channel, PAC or PAC in Scientology stands for Pacific Area Command and is just the Sea Org word to refer to all the Scientology buildings on L. Ron Hubbard Way. Okay, dear staff member, which is, it's weird. Like, so you can see this is actually a boilerplate. It's actually a boilerplate dispatch that's simply being personally addressed to Eddie. I think that's interesting. Dear staff member, in alignment with current base protocols, in order for you to be able to be released from quarantine, you will need to do the vaccination for the COVID-19. All base staff members, due to the fact that we are so closely connected with each other, are required to do this.
This whole document was just full of, oh my gosh, moments, just one after the other. And then Aaron shares the whole story about what happened to this man. Did you guys see it? Raise of hands. And, I left Scientology. It's been 15 years and we, speak to different people who leave at times. And this is something that, hold on. I know, Nancy, I just have to be able to, I just have to have it that way for now. Because of what I was telling you earlier, my sign combo with Nancy. So this document really shows that the whole story that Aaron tells in this video, which if you have not seen it, you got to watch it. I will link it down below after this video. Really shows you the level of control and chaos that occurred, back in 2020, 21, 22. And I think it was well into 23 that Scientology still had their people wearing gloves when they would leave the base and be out and about. I don't feel like we've seen that here. Hey, Cats Hate Cult. Where's my Aloha button? Oh my gosh. Where's the, oh, here it is. Aloha. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. I appreciate that. We are going to get back going on members only live stream soon. Aloha from rainy New Jersey. So happy to see you. I appreciate that. It's good to see all of you. It's been rainy here too. Really, the weather has just been, well, that'll be part of my surviving the week. So having this come out about like how tight the control really got is really scary because it just shows the depth of which David Miscavige and his people are just trying to still control and ultimately protect him is what it seems like. He does have severe asthma. He claims that it was cured with Scientology, but other people have been like, nah, that's actually not true. And it really seems like when you hear this whole story, when Aaron tells it and shows this document, that it's really more, it seems about like protecting him. And a big part of this was they were using chemicals to clean and disinfect, but not following the directions as they should. You're supposed to use these products on an area and then not let anyone in for several hours. And they were putting people right back in there, including the gentleman that that report was sent to. And when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, it is so on brand. And I can tell you as a former Sea Org member, there wasn't really, we never thought, oh, should I be wearing gloves to do this? Or, oh, should I be breathing in this chemical? Back in my day, y'all, gather around for a back in my day. Back in my day, when I was in the Sea Organization in the late 80s, early 90s, we would do, if you had an administrative job, say not like where you were needed every day on your job. On Saturdays, we would do renovation. So we'd all be sent over to basically, be construction workers and take things down and sand and paint and hammer and all of the things. And there's not a time that I can recall where it was like, oh, you should be wearing a hard hat here or anything like that. So even though it wasn't surprising for me to hear, it was still shocking in a way, because it's like you're still doing the same things. And that's a scary thing to me. If all these years later, they're still doing the same thing and it's actually getting worse, like this is not good news. Super Weekend Warrior says Scientologists are supposed to be able to control matter, energy, space, and time and conditions, yet they're wearing gloves, masks, and spraying disinfectant everywhere. And not properly either. That's kind of the thing. And yeah, Super Weekend Warrior is right. In Scientology, there is this belief that the messed universe, matter, energy, space, and time, can be controlled the higher you go up Scientology's bridge to total freedom. You get these abilities and you can control physical things. Like would be considered messed. Stuff in the physical universe, our bodies are messed. And when you go up high enough, you can control matter, energy, space, and time. That's why you sometimes read in Scientology success stories or testimonials that I can control the traffic lights with my mind. I did it. All of the things come from that belief. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to control traffic lights with my mind. Can't say I had that happen. Sometimes I get lucky and I'll go miles and miles and always hit a green light. But I'm not looking at, thank God I did 35 years of Scientology to gain that ability. I think sometimes I'm just lucky. And I think all of us, but leave it to Scientology to give that meaning. You get a good streak of green lights and associate that with all the Scientology that you've done. It is, it's cringe. I have secondhand embarrassment now when I read things like that. Chrissy Lynn says, it's crazy how many chemicals the people in quarantine were exposed to. I wonder if there'll be long-term health implications for them. Those things are toxic and carcinogenic, I believe. Yes, that again is the concern. We talk about the elder abuse, and we've seen videos from multiple people live streaming Scientology and seeing how, oh my goodness, look at what's happening there. I remember there was an older man we would see multiple times around the blue buildings in Los Angeles pushing very heavy carts. And looking like he was struggling with it. It was kind of heartbreaking. Brenda says, I cried with Aaron because they were poisoning that man with all that cleaning in his room in solitary confinement for so many months. No wonder he had indigestion and probably GERD. Yeah. And that's the crazy thing. They put this guy in solitary confinement, not because he was sick with something that was contagious. He had indigestion. And I do believe it was a Scientology doctor, I think a chiropractor, who had the opinion that he had a parasite. And when I heard that, I made me go, well, okay, I've heard of people having parasites and I know what the handling was for it. And I don't think it was put the person in solitary confinement, which really was more of a punishment for not following a policy that then was set about Sea Organization members having to, take the jab and mandating it. And we've seen that, but this putting people in solitary confinement until they obey is next level. And I know for me, I don't think, or even if I heard a story like that, it might have just kind of like I said, it's not surprising, but it's shocking. You know, like I'm like, this seems on brand for Scientology, but that it's gone that far is incredibly disturbing. Amber Vaness says, my mom also told me that Scientology has cured her asthma, and I just think it's because she moved to Florida. Yeah, exactly, Brenda. Probably not needed. The treatment for GERD is definitely not solitary confinement. But then they think it is. Well, the thing is, they're not trying to help that individual. They're trying to force pressure on him to make him compliant. That's what all of these actions are for in Scientology, especially in the Sea Organization. It's about forcing us to be compliant, not questioning, just completely following orders and dictates and doing what we're told. Old Frizz, exactly. Remember Jenna and others talking about working with asbestos, even as children in the Sea Organization back in the day. I do. I remember that. Candice says, being asthmatic and a never in, this scares me. They think it can be cured. I agree. I have a daughter who has severe asthma, and I can't even imagine her being in that environment and not having her daily medication that literally helps to keep her alive. I just can't even imagine. Julia says, I can tell you my former CEO at Windcrest had a violent reaction to Kaboom and bleach. Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's not people react differently to these things, and we're putting it everywhere in Scientology without any safety protocols. I really don't. I'm getting caught up. Oh, yes, Squirrel SPTV. Thank you. Aloha, y'all. Natalie, I hope you had a happy King Kamehameha Day last Wednesday. It was. I'm very behind on this chat. But if you've not seen that video, check it out, because the story and understanding that, wow, even in recent years, the level of control and putting people in solitary confinement like that happening it's completely unacceptable. And he was in there for, I think it was 3 months, wasn't it, you guys? 3 months in solitary confinement. I just cannot even imagine. And it also speaks to how Scientology, and this is something that might be, many of you who regularly watch my channel and others know this, but it's all about control. It's never about actually helping the individual, especially in the Sea Organization, where people are dedicating their lives to forward the aims of Scientology, which they believe wholeheartedly that Scientology is doing. It is a prison of belief completely. Because of those beliefs, we would create our own prisons where we were not allowed in our minds to think about something over here or view something that is not, where it paints L. Ron Hubbard or Scientology in a bad light. We had to put those blinders on, and we were indoctrinated to do that so much. And that is what ends up having people stuck, is the programming kicks in, that even when they see something that's like, oh my gosh, this is like culty next level, right? But no, because of the programming, you have to keep going with it, and you have to put the blinders on. Because what will happen is it will get, if you're a public Scientologist, expensive to get you compliant, because you have to pay for security checks. And if you're a staff member or a Sea Organization member, then there's just different levels of punishment. I've seen where people have had to do manual labor and then go kind of begging for forgiveness. You guys have heard about the liability formula that you have to take around and have signed when you've delivered your effective blow to the enemies of the group that you were pretending to be a part of. That's what it says in Scientology Ethics. Professor Kakan says, when getting the old Gilman house ready for Hubbard to move into, I had to pull fiberglass out of the attic. No protective gear. And Hubbard never took residence in that house. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. It's consistent. And Professor Kakan, you were there. I mean, that was a long time ago, right? I don't remember exactly when you were there, but that is still going on. Jojo, are you covering the protest tomorrow? Possibly. I mean, in real time. Oh, the Sunday protest. Yes, I'll be recapping it. I don't know if we'll see what's happening. Tomorrow's Father's Day, which is a rough day. So I don't know if in real time, but later, because there is the protests on Sunday at Big Blue, which I'm excited to see and watch. And we'll see who ends up being there and what streams can be, that we can watch. Maybe, I don't know about in real time. Likely I'll recap it later. I'm not sure exactly what our plans are on Sunday, with Tony's boys and whatnot. So I won't commit to it, but I'll be tuning in here and there. Thank you, Susan, for that reminder to hit the like button. Arkansas Flamingo says, if you're underrated or Scientologist in the chat, you're welcome. You're loved. Your doubts are valid. If you ever need help leaving the SPTV Foundation, it's a good resource for you. Mahalo. Thank you for that, Arkansas Flamingo. And that is very much true. Amber's even sharing how the cadets knocked down walls and bunk beds with asbestos in it with no helmets or safety glasses or masks. And Amber's a grown woman now. When she was in the Cadet organ Scientology, those kind of things were happening. So again, there's this long-term pattern of just using people like they're just physical pieces of meat. And let's not forget, that's kind of how Scientology thinks of a physical body. It's just a meat body. I've heard that called, oh my God, that grosses me out even to even just like have those words come out of my mouth. They call new people raw meat coming in off the street. It's just never not going to gross me out now. It's like once you move beyond and you understand how horrible that is, you cannot unsee it. And I feel like that's a lot of my Scientology history. It's just trying to, you do a lot of reframing. I've been out for 15 years. I've done a lot of work. I've had a lot of healing, but there's still more to go. And I think there's just always going to be. But part of it is recognizing certain things that happen for what they were, whether it was a human rights abuse, whatever it was. That's so much a part of it. I want to tell you a little bit about, you're right, it's Mike Sandoval. They want free labor. I want to tell you a little bit about my week 2. Yep, I see what you're saying there, Nikki. Hold on a sec here. This is a good point, too, that Super Weekend Words is making about that video from Aaron Smith-Levin in that document. They're so worried about the guy in quarantine that they addressed him as dear staff member. Yeah, exactly. They just put his name. I'm sure that's what went to other people. What that tells us is he wasn't the only one. He wasn't the only one. Yeah, and it is all about the free labor and getting that. The free labor aspect too it's the same reason why we weren't allowed to have children in the Sea organization, because we would have to leave. That rule, I think that rule came out in 86, where you would have to go to a small, listen to this, a small and failing Scientology org. And I remember at the time thinking, wow, I wonder which orgs are small and failing, because I didn't know where I was going to be sent, because I refused, my husband at the time and I refused to end my pregnancy. We wanted to have our child, and we did. And that's Shelby, who some of you have met. And it's a similar kind of thing. I didn't get put in solitary confinement, but I was put in a room and heavily pressured and ridiculed at times too for being pregnant. But yeah, they're all about the free labor. That's exactly what they're trying to do. That's what they want. And that is not happening anymore with me. No, I do what I want when I want. And it's pretty amazing. I want to touch on my week quick as well. You guys know that Tuesday, many of you, was the 1-year anniversary of my Tony passing. And it has been brutal leading up to that date. It was, I mean, the whole year, honestly, the whole 3.5 years, because he was sick for 2.5 years. And I've been really leading up to the anniversary of his passing. I was really having so many memories come back of what led up to that. And the day, though, was amazing. I took this screen tent that I have and I put it in the back of the house. Tony had built this teepee in the backyard. And amazingly, there's like this marsh area in the back, and amazingly, it is still there. And I kept thinking like, what would Tony do? And I like put some plants in there, and I even ran power for some fans. Had snacks, spent the day with family. His boys came over, and it was actually really beautiful. And one of the things we did, my sister was here too. Many of you sent cards before Tony died and after he died. And though I opened them, it was really hard to read them. And on Tuesday, on the anniversary of his passing, I sat with this big old bin of cards and my sister, and we read every one of them. And it made the day even more special. There was a lot of tears too, but a lot of laughter. And reading those cards a year later, they had a whole new meaning because there was so much hope in them. A lot of, of course, condolences for loss. I heard from a lot of people who could relate and were going through similar losses. And see, it took me a year to read those cards. And I want to thank every single one of you that sent those cards. I finally did read them. We read some of them, the ones when Tony still could. There were a lot that he read. Up to maybe maybe a month or so before he died. But then like when Lana would come over, she would read them to him, the last few weeks. So he did get to hear, if not read, many of the ones that were addressed to him before he died. I did not read all of those and then the ones after he died, but I did. And again, I want to thank you all so much for doing that. The messages were so heartfelt and hopeful. And that is the thing I realized on the day after, right? We had the anniversary on Tuesday, this date that has been looming and I've been brutally working towards. And it was a beautiful day. It has rained every single day since then here in Minnesota. We've had Canadian wildfire smoke. We've had air quality alerts almost nonstop since I've been back from Hawaii. And so it's like we're being bombarded with the smoke from Canada, but it seemed to clear up. And on Tuesday, it was the nicest day of the week. It was really nice out. And like I said, we were in the screen tent overlooking this teepee and just spending time together. I found Tony's travel journal from when he went to Europe as a young man. And that's a place that his sons are heading. And so I gave them the journal. And there are so many blank pages in it. And I said, you should take it and fill in the blank pages with your own travels. Kind of like, what was that one movie? The Traveling Pants. I guess it was based off a book. It could be like the traveling journal. And in the back of it, Tony had written all these kind of inspirational quotes it was the 90s, so you weren't taking pictures of things with your phone, and he had written them in there. And to me, that made it special too, because these were quotes and things that resonated with him while he was on this trip. He had lived in Greece for a while and went to Prague. And so now the boys have that, and I do believe they're going to take it on their trip, which I thought was fantastic. And the next day, the day after, I wake up and the whole day, I feel like it's January 1st, like it's a new year. I feel like I just got a new box of crayons and I'm opening it for the first time. And I think it's because I no longer had all those memories of his suffering flooding in. The way that they were just bombarding me. And that stopped. And then I started this week after Tuesday, started remembering all these amazing times that we had together in the 9 years before he got sick. Things that I've been so focused on, when he was sick and then when he passed and those memories. But suddenly it was like this page turned and I'm still going to cry. I still do. I'm still going to be going through the grieving process, but I can't tell you how wonderful it is to kind of be flooded more with those memories. And like, oh my gosh, that's right. We did this, we did that. There was this fun, crazy time. And we would, when we'd have dinner and then sit by the fire and just talk, or he'd play his guitar and all these things. And that has been amazing. I have really, I have really appreciated that. I have. And I hope that that continues. And I think that it will, along with the ups and downs of grief. But like I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying it, when you've experienced a loss, grief is a natural process. And it takes however long it takes for you. It takes how long it takes for me. I think when we lose somebody like that, it never goes away, but it gets easier. And I think I've shared this with you. I like this analogy that I saw of it being like this super heavy stone that is this stone you carry, and it's so heavy. But as you get stronger, it just becomes easier to carry it. And that really resonated with me. And that's how I feel about it. But I did want to share that because it was such a turning point in a way for me. And I really appreciate being able to sit with a lot of those good memories as well. Because I think we're so overwhelmed by the loss, or if your person was sick, what led up to it is so traumatic. Watching somebody you love die slowly, quickly, whatever, suddenly. To lose someone, for those of you who lost somebody suddenly with no warning, that stuff will mess you up. And it completely broke me. But in ways that also gave me the opportunity to now create something else to focus on for me and my life, and to honor Tony by doing the things, honestly, that I want to do. His whole thing in our relationship was always encouraging me to do the things that I wanted to do, to work on the projects that I wanted to work on, or work towards, to be able to just experience different things, whether it was for fun, whether it was for work. And because I'm very work oriented, because I love it and I do love what I do. But I've not been focused on any of those goals for, a bit over a year. And I'm just starting to get back to that now, so that I can create an amazing life for myself, which is what I know that he wanted, because he told me. It was the last thing he said to me. I love you and I want you to have an amazing life. And I feel more now like I can do that, because I have moments of extreme grief, but also moments of extreme happiness. And it's over like the little things, honestly. I hear you, Nikki. And Jesse, I'm so sorry for you lost your sister 25 years ago and you still break down at times. Yeah. And that's what I hear too, and I've had, unfortunate for them, but who went through loss, who have been just kind of these points of inspiration for me. And so many of you who I heard from who have survived a loss, and friends of mine. I have 3 very close friends who experienced the loss of a partner or a child. And the fact that years later, they are finding joy and happiness, but still grieving, gives me a lot of hope. Because I think the stronger you get, the easier it gets to carry that stone. And in Scientology, the solution would be to hide the stone, to compartmentalize it. That's what we were trained to do, even as children. And I promised myself I wasn't going to do that. I'm like, I am not going to Scientology this, because I could have completely compartmentalized it, and dealt with it later, if ever. But then things come out sideways. And the interesting thing for me is going through my healing process out of Scientology, and understanding how the importance of, framing what happened in correct ways, right? Using the correct words for things, because in Scientology, they changed the definition of a few things, learning that correct way. You're totally right, Jojo. Grief and joy can coexist. And I think that is what I feel like the miracle of how it's been for me so far. I've had some extreme joy and I've had some extreme grief as well, but I'm just so hopeful about it now. And I hope that those of you who've experienced a loss like that, maybe that kind of makes some sense to you. And hopefully you can talk about it, with people you care about. I'm fortunate to be able to have a platform here on YouTube where I can do that. And that has helped me so much because I've talked to you guys a lot about what's been going on. Less it sometimes, because when I'm really going through it, I just don't want to, come on. And last Saturday I did a video and I let you know what was going on. And it's not my favorite thing to do. Because it's very emotional and I'm fine with experiencing those emotions but sharing that with all of you, because so many of you have been here since day one on my channel and you got to know Tony and you got to see everything, the whole process, what happened. Like we kept you up to date on his treatment. And then when he passed, and I've been sharing with you what my last year has been like. And especially after reading all of those cards, more so, I am so incredibly grateful for our community here. I could say it every day for the rest of my life, and it would not even come close to the real feeling that I feel about that. It makes such a difference. The kindness, whether it's in the chat or email or the, cards, different things, the support that you guys show me, it makes such a difference. It's like feeling, I've explained before, like it's like when I lost Tony, it was like losing half of myself. And this community is just kind of like filled in, that other half, but help me understand that my healing is me feeling that other half and me becoming more whole with the support of my friends, my family, and this community. And it got me thinking about a lot of you who go through and are going through something similar. And I hope that you can find that as well. And that maybe even, we'll talk about it here from time to time. The grief is a part of my everyday life now. Hellcat says, a Northern girl, Nat, sorry about the Canadian smoke, Nat. Yeah, it's been bad. I usually don't have to use an inhaler every day. I do have a medication I need to take, but that helps because I have like a mild asthma compared to my daughter. But it's been rough. I feel like I sound like a smoker. I hope I don't know if the air quality alert is better today or not. Jesse, you're a strong person. I couldn't do it. You could do it. It's amazing. There's that saying, it's amazing what we can do when there's no other option, right? And I mean, there were other options, but none of them that worked for me. I wouldn't be honoring Tony by tanking my life and being miserable and not doing things to help lift myself up. I wouldn't be honoring his life. It's not how he lived his life. He lived his life with a lot of curiosity. He did a lot of traveling. He lived a lot of life. Hey, Carla's loving wife. Good to see you. I'm glad you made it. Old Frizz says, I remember coming across my husband's old glasses quite a while after he died. It killed me. Yeah. Isn't it interesting the things that do that? And for me, it's the everyday things. Like the things I want to, he had an amazing collection of clothes. The only things I want to keep are the t-shirts or sweaters that he wore all the time that are, stained. Those are the ones that I find myself wanting to hold on to. I have a couple of his sweaters that I put on all the time because they are amazing. Jojo, not cigarettes. But I've been getting a lot of Canadian smoke. Mock says, grief doesn't have a break button. That's a good thing, as much as it feels like it's an unfortunate thing. Yeah, that's true. I don't doubt that this will be something that will be part of my life for the rest of my life. But the cool thing is all of the 11 years that we had together, all of the things that we did, the experiences, the love, the not good times either, because it was not perfect. I don't think any relationship is perfect. We had our ups and downs as well. But I can look at that now and I feel like it set me up in ways, in a positive way, for the rest of my life. 2 years out of Scientology, I met Tony. And he was such a key part of my healing, especially when it came to coloring outside the lines. Not everybody in the C organization, but many, it's like the whole thing is about being compliant and following the rules. And that is not something that Tony was. I mean, time and place, he had a professional job for many years. He could pull it together, but gosh, did he know how to have fun and be spontaneous. And that is something that I would have fun, but I wasn't nearly as spontaneous. I had more anxiety about a lot of things. And he helped me so much with that just by being my fun partner in everything, in all the things that, we would do and have fun in life and raise kids together. And those are lessons I feel like I can take with me. So I'm really trying to lean into that. And also that the day of his passing for him was a day of freedom, of being freed from suffering. He suffered a lot, so much. And now he's not. And I think that the day after, Tuesday on Wednesday, I really felt that. Like, I'm still sad that he's gone, but I feel grateful that he's no longer suffering. And this time last year, he was no longer suffering. And I think that's why those the more difficult images and memories are not flooding in like they were before. So that was my week. Don, good to see you. Old Frizz says, Natalie, the love between you and Tony was so clear just watching on YouTube. I'm so glad we did those videos because I get to watch them too. Hey, Deanna Ross, I must say your hair is looking great. Are you liking it? Yeah. So you guys know, many of you, that I've been growing out my hair since last November. I think October, November, maybe even a little bit longer. I should have if I kept my schedule, I would have colored again in October, but I'm liking it. Sometimes it's a little, I like the way that it's growing in because it's almost like kind of like highlights in a way. And I'm working with the person who does my hair to kind of like do what we can to, make it just look a little bit more natural. But I am liking it. It takes some getting used to. I decided to not color my hair anymore because 1, it's expensive. 2, it's time consuming. 3, it's just putting more chemicals on my hair. And 4, I realized, like, why am I doing this for me at this point in my life? And I could change my mind at any time. I always thought I would color my hair forever. And then after Tony died, and part of it was that, but now I don't feel as apathetic as I did before. And I still don't want to color my hair. So I'm like, okay, I just couldn't come up with a reason to do it. And props to anybody that covers their gray. I fully support that. I don't know. I just couldn't come up with a reason why. I'm like, well, it looks better. I'm like, okay, to who? To me? I don't know. I've never seen myself with this much gray hair before. Am I doing it for other people? And I realized I was. Me, myself, if I lived on a desert island and had the ability to color my hair, would I do it? No. And I don't live on a desert island now, but for me, I made that choice because I couldn't come up with a reason that pleased me because I'm fine with it. And if I'm not fine with it, I will color my hair. And it's a little thing. It's a big thing for many of you women, especially if you've grown out, let your gray grow out. It's a process that takes years. You can have these awkward stages, but I'm feeling it. And I think it was one of the first steps I took towards, what does Natalie want? And that's a question that I've been asking myself because it's what Tony asked me often. And that's how I'm making decisions for myself, because for the first time in my life, I am not taking care of anyone, not children, not, a partner, like it's me for the first time in my life. Many of you, maybe before you had kids, you went to college or lived some amount of life prior to that. I was in the Sea Organization. I was working for Scientology from the time I was 15, on staff or in the Sea Organization. I was married at 17. I had my first child at 19. The next one at about 21, and my son, I think, when I was 28. And I just feel like I'm 54. I'm going to turn 55 this year. And that now this is like my time. And that's something Tony and I talked about a lot. More so him. I didn't want to hear about it. Used to make me very upset when he would bring it up. But I'm so thankful that he did, because it gave me permission to do me, make decisions for myself. And the man trained me for 11 years how to love myself by him loving me. And I'm so thankful for that. That one thing, for someone who's come out of a high control group, cult, and maybe you guys can relate, learning to love yourself is so huge. Because many of us, I think we leave a situation like Scientology, especially the Sea Organization, and we believe at times, and I honestly, I think people not in a cult can relate to this, that we're just pieces of shit, and that's just how it is, and that's why this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen, and we beat ourselves up, and that doesn't help anything. And many people, like, you keep trying and trying and working at something and going beyond maybe your physical ability to do it or your mental ability to do it. You keep pushing yourself, because that's what we did in Scientology and the Sea Organization. There was no excuse for not doing your job, and you would get in trouble for it. So the conditions under which we worked and our ability to kind of compartmentalize and continue to focus on work created, one, a lot of people refer to it as a good work ethic, which I would agree, but I think it's too extreme because we tend to not consider our own well-being. But in my time with Tony, it's like all the things that he would do for me or ask what I wanted to do, or that he would want me to do to experience it, because I had spent my entire life being focused on, Scientology and as I should. And as when you're going through those years of raising a family, that is your focus and your priority, as it should be. But he always said, he's like, that's not the phase of life that you're going to be in. And I never wanted to talk about it, but it's like now it continues to hit me, as it has, that is where I am at in life now. I get to decide what I want to do, what I want to take on. I decide where I put my energy. I decide what I want to watch, what I want to read, who I want to spend time with, and who I don't want to spend time with. And I got to tell you guys, it's amazing. It's so amazing in that way. And I know what he was talking about now. I was so upset with him for saying that you're going to love your life. At the time, I thought, how can he say that to me? How could he think that I would love my life without him there? And now I know what he meant. It's like I understand that now. It wasn't because he wasn't there. It was because it's like he knew that everything he had done with me, the time we spent together, I feel like it had always been about helping me get to the point where I could be on my own, but be fully, but take care of myself, not just the necessities, but make sure I spend time outside. I do fun things. I do things that bring me joy, purely because they bring me joy. That's what blew my mind. Oh, hold on. Is my phone ringing on there? Hold on. Sorry, guys. I couldn't do not disturb it because I have some stuff going on with my other job. Hold on just a sec. I gotta just tell him I gotta call him right back. But I think you guys know what I'm saying, because I've shared this before with the things that he said to me and how I would get so upset with him for saying that. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, like I get it. I'm devastated. I think I always will be that he's not here. But I am so hopeful. I feel like I have this brand new, I keep talking about the crayons and a brand new coloring book with blank pages. I don't even have like the things to fill in. I get to decide and make it what it is. And I'm so grateful for that. And I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you guys. That man was love. Laura, thank you. So I will continue. Like I said, I'm continuing to do videos. It's my other job at the moment is consuming the vast majority of my time, which is great. I love a project and I love a challenge. But so stay tuned. Laura says, I'm grieving my mom after she died in October. I can't get out of this funk. I'm lost, yet I know she'd want me to still live. Exactly. And I think you do it one step at a time, one bite. Just do start with just like one thing that you enjoy doing or you want to do. And I think little by little, I'm going to wrap up because I think I left my Kleenex outside. Here, I'm a woman in her 50s. I always have napkins in my pocket. One thing at a time. And I know that you'll get there, and we'll get there together, Laura. We'll both keep showing up. Yes, the boobologist. Thank you so much for that. I have it in the other room. I'll have to share it with you guys. I got this. She made me this incredible gnome in Tony's favorite colors, which were yellow and sunflowers on the hat of it, which was also his favorite flower. I love it so much. I move it around. Exactly, Jesse. Take time. Do not be hard on yourself. I think we all can do that. Give ourselves a bit more grace. I feel like if we can learn to give ourselves grace, we can learn to do it. Like we can do that better for other people. And I know for me, with my background, nobody's going to beat me up more than me, or at least it was that way. It's not that way anymore because I'm really been working towards not beating myself up and giving myself grace. I've been through a lot. I'm going through a lot. Some stuff will get done, some won't. Some days I'll feel like doing things, then I won't. That's just normal and part of it. That's just part of it. But I'm trying to approach everything the way that Tony looked at even the end of his life, when he said, when I would ask him, are you afraid of dying? And he said, no. I'm really curious about what comes next. He said, I'm excited to find out what comes next. And I think that I can look at my life like that. I can look at living like that. I'm excited to find out what comes next. And I'm not so like before. It's funny. I have there's always going to be before Tony died and after. But I felt like I was so much more trying to control the outcome of things. And when he got really sick, we both decided whatever happens will be the best possible outcome. We're done trying to control it. We're just going to trust that whatever this plan is, whatever happens, we're going to know that is the best possible outcome. And I've just been trying to carry that forward. What is within my control is within my control. What isn't is not. Thank you. I'm going to go back and read all your guys' comments. I appreciate it. If you could do me a favor and hit the like and hit that subscribe as well. And I will let you know, like I said, I'm not doing as many videos as I did before, but I'm still doing them. I'm still here and I've got some fun stuff planned. So thank you guys for being here. If you're on the replay, let me know your thoughts. Jump in those comments and let me know what you think about the stuff that we talked about today. I will see you guys soon. I hope y'all get out and have an amazing cult-free day.